The article the article I read was Owner's Guides to Men by Penelope Green. In the article, Penelope Green addresses a multitude of books about training your man to be your future spouse, or even training your current spouse to be a better spouse, I guess would be the term for it. And in this, sorry, there's always something going on with my throat. She goes on to talk about the commonality of addressing men as dogs, and she references more books and that are basically kind of just exploiting the fact that this is a kind of funny way to address, you know, men, and how sometimes you gotta shape them into something you want. This humane author, she talks about get a lot of their tips and their hints from Pavlovian conditioning and Skinnerian operant conditioning, where Pavlovian is you give a command and you give a man a command, and depending on the results, you reward him with sex and food, or no sex and food, or generally watching him like operant conditioning. And if he does a good thing, you reward him with sex and food. If he does a bad thing, you deny him sex and food. The purpose of the article, I think, was just mainly to, get a laugh, and then, promote these two of these authors, and their works that they're working on. And I do believe that the author intended to convey, like, just, the hilarity that is, comparing men to dogs, and, just a little bit, the outdated sense of you can train a man to be better. And I learned that there are a lot of books dedicated to training men. I found some clarification between the different types of Pavlovian conditioning and Skinnerian operant conditioning. I also learned how antiquated these ideas sound when they're being applied to human beings. I know I could probably find more information about these different types of conditioning in school databases like PsycInfo and other psychological journals. I would expect to find articles that weigh the pros and cons, but also more serious topics like parenting, and if spanking is a good punishment, or if reward and punishment are good ways to get your kid to listen, and things of that nature. I feel like those would be subjects that were more related to the topic of conditioning. I believe that this article relates to this course because it talks about Pavlovian conditioning, which is based upon giving a task or a set of guidelines, and depending on the response, you give a reward or you give a punishment. And also operant conditioning, which is just watching and observing behaviors, and if a good behavior is performed, then you reward that behavior, and if a bad behavior is performed, you dole out a punishment. I also think that it's great for this course because it's a funny and very easy way to absorb, this particular information, and these are two very important topics in psychology, and especially basic learning processes.